This video starts out with Drifter zooming around the pen, which was a result of people trying to go into the pen and cornering him to get the halter on him. At some point, he was pushed against the stall wall with a fence panel in order to attempt to halter him, which was unsuccessful. So in no way did I chase Drifter to get this kind of reaction. It was his flight reaction from previous experiences with humans, and that's how we started out. So let's have a look how we can help him find relaxation. Hello and welcome to yet another episode of Genuine Connections Horsewomanship, where we focus on love, peace, understanding, and the principles of the lead mare-female leadership. Now let me ask you a question. What does the halter represent for you? And what does a halter represent for your horse? For Drifter, the little rescue gelding that you will see in the lesson here, which is an excerpt of my mentorship program, the halter, as well as humans, meant simply bad business. So many horses experience control, pressure, manipulation, intimidation while being haltered. And for us humans, the halter often represents that we get things done. We can handle our horse's feet when our horse is haltered. We can saddle our horse when our horse is haltered. But what if we could start out in a way where the halter could be optional, because our horse feels safe, secure, and confident with us, because we are the gatekeeper of our horse's wellness, well-feeling, well-being, and confidence. And our horse happily and willingly, out of free will and free choice, follows our suggestions. So in this video, I will show you the preparation, how to create a clean slate, how to wipe off bad experiences and replace them with a solid foundation, so haltering can indeed be optional. Meet Drifter, who got lucky and was rescued from the kill pen. Drifter is more of a passive horse and is also suspicious and wary of humans due to his experience. So what could be better than showing you guys how to instill trust and confidence into a horse like this from the very beginning? Now here Drifter moved into an area of the paddock that is quite small and narrow. So I'm stopping assessing the situation because I do not want to add additional pressure with him already being in a narrow space. I'm stopping numerous times as he's making contact with me, and eventually I am approaching the gate and I'm honoring the space around the gate by gently swinging my stick and string without making it any personal for Drifter. It is simply about the space that he's occupying. Here you can see that I just used the right amount of non-directional energy because Drifter is already slowing down. His head is level with his withers and he's showing rhythm and relaxation in his gaits, which is awesome. Now as I am approaching, you will see as he's coming to a stop here. Let's just wait a moment. Here he's stopping and see how he is relaxed. Now, as I'm approaching, he's becoming concerned and he's actually moving his head over the gate. This is a critical moment where you definitely do not want to add any non-directional energy or pressure on the horse because he could also decide to jump over the gate. So notice how I honored space way behind him and I did not address him in any shape or form, which then gave him a way out. So it is really, really important that you watch your horse's feedback at all times. The fact that he is quickly slowing down shows me that he is already in a thinking mode and less in a reactive mode like we started with. So here you can tell that I'm starting early on to honor my personal space, but I am not directing it towards the horse, but I am directing it in this corner to give him a way out. As long as Drifter is not occupying space and accepting me as the lead, I'm moving on to the next pattern, which means I'm simply following him, using the same amount of energy in my body than he is using in his body. Here he's walking towards me, so I thought maybe I have a chance to walk away and he will follow. However, he lost track of me disappearing behind the shed. So notice what is happening. He's actually walking over to check out the camera bag, which immediately shows me that he doesn't feel as threatened anymore as he did just a few minutes ago. It's awesome that relaxation is already happening, so I simply continue to follow him. Notice, I am not driving him. This is really, really important. It might look the same, but in my mind, I am truly following him in zone 5, and I am adding no directional energy to this. I'm simply assuming the body language and the energy that the horse is exhibiting at any given time. By assuming the same amount of energy in my body, I am creating harmony. And harmony is the foundation for creating balance. And harmony and balance then is the foundation to create rhythm and relaxation in our bodies. Here you can see what that looks like at a faster pace. I am trotting in the same way as Drifter is when he's coming down to a walk. I came down to a walk. Now notice what happens. He's turning around and he's changing his pattern by not going down to the gate anymore. And he's slowly walking off, and see what's happening with his ear. He's actually making contact with me. So this is actually a big deal right here. Now notice what I'm doing here. We had a understanding that we were walking together, and he changed the idea. So I encouraged him to stick with the original idea and keep on walking. I would like for my horse to stay in motion, because in motion he will has less of a chance to create any brace and tension, and I have a better opportunity to observe his body language when he is moving. Now here, this is really interesting because, again, he is trotting off and I am trotting simply with him. And as he's coming to a walk, I am coming to a walk. And again, we're still sharing the idea of walking. Now here he's walking slower, so I'm walking slower. And there we have a wonderful moment of connection. Looking at the footage now, I realized that my timing to stop was just a tad off, because you'll notice that once I stop right here, he's thinking about walking again, which is okay. So those are the things that happen, but later on we can learn from those instances and do better next time. So here I have a nice rhythmic walk. I'm still making sure he is safe. I am safe by keeping the proper distance. And as he trotted down the hill, I really slowed my body energy down and asked him to stay at a walk. And look what happens. He was able to transition to a walk. So again, there was another breakthrough moment. And as you can tell, he's becoming more and more softer in his face, and he's paying more and more attention to myself. So we have a little poop break, and he's checking in with me. So I see that as an invitation to just walk past, give him a moment of connecting with me, but at the same time not making a big deal of it. So I just walked past him, And then I just asked him to share the idea of walking together. So I changed actually from following him to introducing an idea. Here, as you will see, I made the decision to change my pattern a little bit, and I actually moved from zone 5 to zone 3 to zone 1 to see whether he would be able to follow me. And he was interested and he was watching me, but you can clearly tell that he's not sure what to do. And so, looking at his feedback, I simply went back to the idea of following him. And I'm kind of assessing of where he's at. I'm stopping, he's moving. And now we're sharing that idea of walking again. He introduced it, I took it, and then I asked him to stay with it by simply keeping walk energy in my body. So this is actually looking really nice. I love the way how he's becoming interested in his surroundings while clearly being connected with me. So now is a great time to actually start and offer some more ideas. I am moving to the inside and I'm changing my body position to suggest a circle. Instead of being right behind Drifter, I'm now to the inside. Here I'm moving back to a straight body and being right behind him to suggest a straight line. And we're following again the fence. You might remember the lesson articles in the Genuine Connections library about being the lead, and that the lead introduces all the ideas. In Drifter's case, being wary and unconfident around humans, it is more important to first establish harmony and balance within the relationship prior to establishing any ideas. Now that Drifter is showing rhythm and relaxation, I can start to introduce more ideas. Like here, the idea is keep on walking. Knowing that it's easy to trot downhill, I'm introducing the idea with thought and then with energy and body language to trot. And look at the nice connection that we're having. We're truly trotting in unison. Here I'm introducing the idea of walk, and we're walking. That is pretty cool, isn't it? His head is level with his withers, and it's gently swinging left and right, which shows a fair amount of relaxation. His ears are pointed back towards me, his eyes are blinking and thinking, and even going uphill, he's able to go slowly and connect with me. Here again, I'm switching sides and I'm encouraging him to give me the other eye. There you go, and I'm following again. And now notice how we are able to make an even smaller circle, and here we're switching to the other side, and I'm introducing the idea of forward motion, and we're walking again together. Here you can see that Drifter is actually changing his pattern and he's walking down the hill earlier. I'm going quickly to follow, but then I am introducing a new idea to continue to walk in the other direction, and he's willingly complying. That is starting to be a real conversation. I really like what I'm seeing here. Notice how I continue to introduce now by switching sides to change directions. And I am not using my stick in any shape or form. I'm simply giving the horse an idea with my thought, my energy, and my body language. And if it's necessary, then I go back to following so we keep up the connection. You can tell here this is pretty nice how he's slowly slowing down, and he's now for the first time licking and chewing, so even more relaxation. I am taking on the speed that he is taking on, and I am suggesting a stop. And look what happened. I was able to suggest an idea through thought, energy, and body language, and Drifter was willing to comply. Here we are walking off in unison, and again I am suggesting another stop, a few extra steps, and we stopped together. Remember, you always want to be in the we. We are doing everything together as the herd of two. Here I am moving closer while holding the thought of stopping to ask Drifter to give me his right eye to prepare for a turn to the right at a walk. And look what we got. I just love it when things start to work and flow like this. Here we are sharing the idea of walking together, and it is with a lot of rhythm, relaxation, trust, and confidence. Another suggestion to stop, and we truly stopped in unison, and he even was able to connect with me. I didn't linger too long when I walked towards him because I wanted to make sure that he was building up no brace. So I went away, I gave him a quick break, and now I'm introducing the idea of walking together again. And look how beautiful this is now working. I am here reminding him to walk together, and he's willingly complying. He's continuing to show me the rhythm, the relaxation, and the contact. And we have another beautiful transition to a stop. That's really, really awesome. So here I'm moving again my position, and I'm asking for the left eye. So now we can move forward in another direction. Notice the Drifter was not yet able to share this idea with me, so I immediately backed off and introduced the idea that is easy for him, going at a walk to the right. I always want to set up my horse for success. I'm not interested in having the last word and making my horse do the things that I'm expecting it to do. I am making a point to create connection. And here he was able to stay connected with me because I valued his opinion and feelings. Of course, I want my horse to be comfortable with me, whether I'm in front of him or behind him, whether I'm to the left or to the right. So I simply walked a circle around him and positioned myself behind him. Now notice how I really prepared for this transition to a walk, and off we go again together. Here Drifter is again slowing down, so I'm using some additional energy with my stick to remind him to stay within the shared idea of walking together. As he becomes more trusting and confident, I can become more particular about sharing our ideas together. This was a pretty nice stop because I introduced the idea and he followed right up. And what's really nice about it is how much more curious he becomes and how much more relaxed he is when I am approaching his personal space. Since I'm getting all positive feedback, I'm actually deciding to stay a little bit in his personal space and to share our bubble together by hanging out with him. And he's even allowing me to touch him on his withers and on his shoulders. That is really great progress. In moments like this, I hold the thought of him following me, but he wasn't able to do so, so not a big deal. I'm simply walking around him in a big circle, and then I'm introducing the idea of let's walk together again. As you can see, I'm doing a lot of repetitive patterns, and that's important because through repetition we can also create more trust and confidence in our horse, because there are certain patterns that the horse can learn to rely on. If we introduce too much variety in the beginning, we can quickly lose the trust and confidence we have built so far. Every horse that had a poor experience or even a traumatic experience with humans will have developed a certain behavior pattern to cope. Here I am simply offering a completely different approach by following Drifter, and I am therefore helping him to develop also new, more positive patterns, because he doesn't have any preconceived notions about people following him, because nobody has ever done it. When I do approach, I make sure I consider his feedback at all times. You can tell he's still a little bit wary, so I'm going slow, and I'm here releasing tension in his neck. When I have physical tension, I have mental, I have emotional tension, so we always want to look for that and help the horse release any residual tension. Here Drifter became interested in my dog Bourbon, and while he briefly disconnected from me, I'm also excited to see this curiosity instead of a spook away from the dog. Curiosity is a precursor to confidence. It's a thoughtful action, and we want for him to become a thinking partner, for our safety as much as his. So here Drifter and I are engaging in a conversation about continuing to walk together. As he's becoming more confident, I can become more particular about sharing ideas that I originally introduced. You can tell that he's very much thinking his way through what I am asking. My first goal was rhythm and relaxation. Then I am working on trust and confidence. And then I am establishing myself in the lead position. And see how beautifully Drifter is responding. As we have developed an understanding about stopping, walking, and changing directions, now it's time to introduce the trot. And as I am introducing a new idea, Drifter is introducing a new idea by trotting into his shed. So we simply trot in the shed, and I continue to trot, so we are also trotting out of the shed. This was a great opportunity to continue to establish myself as the lead. Here I introduced the idea of stopping, and he even turned and faced me. He turned and faced me for the first time, so yet another milestone. I made the opportunity to check in with him, but then we're going to have a conversation to continue to move, because in movement is rhythm and relaxation. And you will notice that now I'm offering the idea of a trot again, and we're having quite a beautiful transition. He's moving into the narrow space, but because now we have more of a communication going, I continue to trot. I get a little confident back. But as I softly continue to hold the idea of trotting, Drifter is very willing to continue to share the idea all the way down to a transition back to a walk. It's looking really great, guys. So repetition is the mother of skills. So we continue with transitions from a walk to a stop. And so here I wanted to approach, but he misread my communication. So I'm simply continuing to sharing the idea for a walk, and then I am introducing the stop again, and it took him a while, but then he noticed, oh, we're talking about stopping. This time I softened my body a little bit to approach him, again taking his feedback in and giving him the opportunity to check in with me. Now you can tell that he has a little bit of tension in his neck, especially his under neck, as I'm pointing out here, and he's very sweetly checking in with me, so that's great. And also in his pole area. Besides rhythm and relaxation in motion, we can also use different massage techniques, or T-touch, or equine touch, or somatics, whatever you prefer, to help your horse to physically release tension, because that will also help release mental and emotional brace. I'm still waiting for the moment where we have enough trust and confidence that Drifter can actually follow me. So we're simply going back to the pattern of walking and moving together, because I know I can create rhythm and relaxation for him, the precursors of trust and confidence. Here I am reintroducing the idea of being in zone 3. And it's really interesting how Drifter is responding, because he's clearly thinking his way through it, checking in with me, but at the same time, he's also not quite sure because I changed my position. And here he's clearly telling me that he's a whole lot more comfortable with me being behind him. So I'm just simply allowing him to change his position, but then I am reintroducing the idea of being next to him. So this is actually great to show you guys a simple conversation. Here he's nicely checking in with me. I really like the fact that we are having this nice connection, that he's willing to actually make contact with me and that he's asking questions. So here I'm moving back in zone 5 because I know this is where he has more trust and confidence. And we're just continuing to work between zone 5 and 3, just gently introducing that idea and just having again this conversation about, can I be next to you instead of behind you? With lots of positive reinforcement, approaching him, helping him to release the tension in his neck very gently. The way I do this is I rock literally his neck gently back and forth. Even when the horse is wearing a halter, I refrain from pulling the horse's head down because I believe this creates tension and brace. I always will do it in a massaging, rocking back and forth kind of way. And as you can tell, here I am moving back to the sacrum and I continue the rocking motion to the left and to the right. And in this close-up, it's really nice to see how connected Drifter is with me and how he is simply experiencing me helping him releasing residual tension and brace. So you can see that his eyes are kind of closing a little bit, but he's still blinking and thinking. His eyes stay present. He's not going away. His ears are pointed towards me, and he's allowing me to gently rock his body back and forth. I had really great success with this kind of movement with horses that have a hard time releasing small residual tension. So here I'm just kind of checking how tense and tight his tail was, and I can see here that he was a little bit skeptical, so I'm simply moving away. I am simply giving him the opportunity to make contact with me again instead of forcing relaxation onto him. We're simply having a conversation, what's okay for him and what's not yet okay for him. So again, here I love the fact that he actually turned and is facing me. That is a different pattern. He's becoming again more curious. He's willing to check in with me more. And here again, we're just gently working on releasing that little brace of residual tension that he's keeping in his neck and pole area. I see that a lot in horses along withholding tension in their mouth and nose area, and even along their tongue, pushing their tongue up to their upper gum. And you can tell that this is emotional for the little guy because his nostrils are opening and closing, so he's breathing a lot and he is experiencing something in a new way. My goal is for him to lick and chew, to let go of tension, and to eventually allow him to yawn, because I'm pretty sure that there is a yawn in there, but he has a really, really, really hard time letting it out. And this might just look a little bit like paint is drying, but I am showing you the whole process so you can relate to how long you have to hang in there to get more relaxation. You can tell his head came down a little bit. I'm still rocking his hind end back and forth. I'm reintroducing my hand to keep him present. Here I am walking away again because I don't want to wear out my welcome. So approach and retreat is the key. Here I am reapproaching. He's still present. He's still thinking with me. And I am continuing to help him to release the physical brace that is showing up in his body. Here I'm rocking him quite a bit back and forth, and while he is moving just a tad back, he decided not to leave, and he's further blinking, which means there is a lot of thinking and processing going on for him at this point. So you see me sitting down here on the ground, and I know some people will say, well, this isn't safe to be, in a horse's proximity sitting down on the ground. And I understand why people say that. And I also know that I had plenty of time to observe the horse's behavior, how he was responding to me. I'm sitting far enough away. And from my perspective, I'm always asking the horse to trust and confide in me. To some extent, I need to extend that trust and confidence in the horse in an environment where I feel I am safe. And in this moment, I felt safe to sit down. And I don't suggest that you're doing the same thing. You can actually stand up. You can turn around, turn your energy center a little bit away from the horse. Maybe just make yourself a little bit smaller. But in this moment, I felt it was important to give as much release as I possibly could, especially knowing that I would probably not have another opportunity to come back and make a difference for this horse. So keep that in mind as you continue to watch the remainder of this footage, and feel free to check in with any questions that you might have. Let's do a quick summary of the individual steps that I took to set the foundation for rhythm, relaxation, trust, and confidence. Step number 1 was to honor my personal space as the lead. Step number 2 was to follow Drifter at a safe distance in zone 5. Step number 3 was to turn following into a conversation about walking, stopping, changing direction, and trotting together in the we. Last but not least, I offered Drifter the opportunity to connect and helped him physically to release tension and brace in his body. By having no attachment to the outcome, look what happened. Drifter eventually was able to curiously walk up to me out of free will. Free will is the foundation for willingness, and this is what we're creating here. So have a look how he continued to interact, while I'll play some music for you.
Feels like we're running red lights, trying to move too fast. Two wrongs don't make a right, and we both wanna make this last. Yeah. So ask me to dance, lead with love, take things slow. No need to rush with hearts combined and spirits free. Share a slow dance with me. I wanna know I can trust you. always wait for me. I need to feel like I'm in this too, like we're two-part harmony, yeah. So ask me to dance and lead with love. Take things slow, no need to rush. With hearts combined and spirits free, share a slow dance with me, hand in hand. Ooh, I feel your touch, understanding every moment means so much, yeah. Ooh, so ask me to dance, lead with love, take things slow. No need to rush, with hearts combined and spirits free. Share a slow dance with me.
I stayed with Drifter like this for quite a while. Here you can see there is some very hidden introverted licking and chewing going on, but I knew that there was a much larger release in form of a yawn in there that we would have to tickle out. So here I am simply hanging out and waiting for him to see whether he can make a change on his own. Now I know there will be some people that will say, why in the world are you sitting down in front of a horse? And this is my personal opinion. I'm not suggesting that anybody has to do this, but if I want my horse to trust and be confident in me, then I also have to give some trust and confidence back. And only after observing his body language and having a conversation with him for about a good hour by now did I decide to sit down. And I felt it was a very safe thing in this particular moment to do, to give him a big relief and hopefully help him to release some of the emotional and mental brace that he has accumulated when it comes to interacting with humans. You can tell here he is getting interested in his environment again. So I decided to get up and see whether I could have some more interactions with him that would allow him to release further brace. So, and here you can tell how nicely he actually is interacting with me, and that lifting my arm over his neck did not initially cause him concern, but then the head came up a little bit and he's got some tension in his poll and neck area. I'm pointing this out to his owners so they can start to look for his feedback and understand when it's time to back off and when it's okay to hang out with him. Here I'm helping him to release some of that tension, and I'm walking away. And as I'm walking away, I noticed that his wrinkles around his nose and mouth area are directly correlated to the distance between me and him. So here I am pointing out to the owner that when I move a couple steps back, the wrinkles go away, and when I move into his personal space, the wrinkles come back. This is something very minute, but we need to pay attention to those tiny little details because they will over time accumulate. Now I love the fact how he was able to check in with me and what a soft facial expression he has while he is interacting with me. That's really, really cool. I am taking his feedback seriously, and I'm playing approach and retreat to give him the opportunity to release the tension that I am seeing in his facial expression. And you will notice that something will happen here very quickly that we've all been waiting for the last good hour. And that's him actually following me and hanging out with me, this time while I'm standing. Now notice that he's first scratching himself, and I've seen that in horses off and on, that they sometimes help themselves release tension like this. And now he is again walking up to me. It's very, very cool. Last time he walked up to me while I was sitting down, but now he's walking up to me while standing. And look that his facial expression is soft, and his head and his withers are at the same height. So he was able to let go of the tension and brace in his neck and poll. And we also do not have any wrinkles around his nose anymore. So here he's clearly telling me that he's concerned about me touching his forehead. So I'm having a conversation about that, and I'm finding ways that might just feel good to him, so he does not have to be concerned about the way I touch him and where I touch him. I really like the fact that he is allowing me to interact with both of my hands, and that's why I'm walking off in this moment. While he's not following me, I love the fact that he's staying present and aware in his surroundings while being connected to me. So I continue to stay in his personal space and giving him the opportunity for contact. Here I'm simply walking back and forth, so he has the opportunity to see me in both eyes. I love the fact that I'm able to raise my hand and just gently guide his neck and find more relaxation this way. What you want to look for is that this head down, snapping back up, head down, snapping back up eventually goes away, and the horse actually finds relaxation by leveling his head with his withers. This is not something that we're asking for. This is something that we're suggesting, and we're allowing the horse to make the decision when he is ready. Again, I'm sliding my hand back to his sacrum, suggesting further release of tension in his spine. And just gently rocking his body back and forth. Then I simply walked away to give him some space while I'm explaining his owner the next few steps of helping Drifter to find rhythm and relaxation, trust and confidence on a regular basis. Throughout his session, while we do see rhythm and relaxation and more trust and confidence, Drifter has really not done a whole lot of licking and chewing, and he's quite the introverted horse. So I am 100% sure that there is more release possible if I am willing to just hang out with him and share space with him, while off and on offering the opportunity for contact. So here I am simply picking up my stick, and I'm continuing to explain the owner what we can do to continue to help Drifter turn into a safe and reliable partner. While Drifter is hanging out and still kind of soaking on the last, by now, good 1.5 hours. While moments like this one can truly feel like watching paint dry, I feel very passionate to share this entire footage with you to show you how long it can take for a horse to process what we've been doing together. So here I'm sharing with the owner some tips on how he can proceed while we are simply allowing Drifter to hang out with us and continue to process.
Yeah, so ask me to dance, lead with love, take things slow, no need to rush, with hearts combined and spirits free. Share a slow dance with me. Know I can trust you to always wait for me. I need to feel like I'm in this too, like we're two-part harmony. Yeah, so ask me to dance,